Hello, this is just going to be a brief live stream. I want to make it a video, but I'm going to live stream it instead. That's how I approach some things if I can't just do the typical video. Also, my phone is being a pain in the butt. I would otherwise use that. But Fallout 3, I believe I got working again. I just had to get out of here, Fallout Shelter, frick you. I just had to change a couple of settings on it, so let me show you that it works. Hopefully those settings are still there, because it might still crash if they're not if they're reversed or anything. Let's test it though, because I tested it earlier and I believe it was finally working, or I finally got it to work. Wait for it, because this is where it usually crashes, by the way. Before the standby thing. So it made it past the please stand by to the Bethesda Softworks. Is it going to make it the main menu? I had to click to get it to go. See, there we go. And now let's test if it will let me actually play it. So if I click continue, let me get my controller here. Oh, I might have to, alright, I know why it's doing that. It's because I did not check off the, DLCs when I was in the options for it. So let's press play again. Which one was that under? It's not tech support. I think it's data files, or is it options? Let me check options. So yeah, this is how I have it set now in order to get it to actually run. Okay. Yeah, I had to change a few things, like I turned this to none. That's kept the same. This is kept the same. I think it's on ultra. I think one of these is changed. I can't remember which one was changed. It's not the top. I don't think it's the top two. It's one of these. I think one of these said default on it. Or something. Okay, weird. I think it might be under data files. All right. Okay. Now I might have to do the same thing if I ever do the vanilla Skyrim, by the way, because it was also having the same problem as Fallout 3, ironically. All right, let's see if it will load through past the please stand by. Yeah, I have to just set some of those settings there that I was talking about differently from what I had before. Because it was not reading my video settings or something. Something about video, I can't remember exactly. But yeah, I kept giving, okay, skip all of this. Frickin' dumbass, like, all right, now if I continue. There we go. Okay, yeah, that's what. Hey! Ooh, a bit of lag or. Okay, I thought I saw screen tearing. There's some. It does feel weird. I don't know what it is.
Hey.
But maybe I'm just hallucinating. But yeah, I had trouble trying to get Fallout 3 even working, and now I got it working finally. It was a easy fix. Alright, let's exit the game. Now the other thing I wanted to quickly talk about, I watched a bunch of Fallout 3 videos. I am more leaning towards Fallout New Vegas as my favorite of the two, just because I wanted to play that on my own and do things. It actually made me want to replay, do some options differently from the playthrough I had going up against Fallout 3's playthrough at the same time. I thought it was an interesting video idea. I have Oblivion re-downloading right now. So things are slow. That might also explain Fallout 3's performance, maybe. But I was watching Straight Edgy. Now, I love Straight Edgy. I've been subscribed to him for a long time. I love his content. I actually want to watch his Morrowind video after this. I think it's one of my favorite videos of his. But I've been watching this. I've gotten this far. I think I have rewatched this a long time ago, back when it came back. I didn't expect I was going to comment, especially as long as I did, on a 1-year-old video. But and I also like going back to some resources of videos I've previously watched, like Mr. Hammers. There's a lot of YouTuber. I made a video actually talking about, no, stop with the ads. Kind of loud. Frick off. That there's a, just like with Dark Souls 2, I've seen a lot of YouTubers that have come out and said, hey, what's with all the hate towards Dark Souls 2? This is why I love it. And yeah, I'm making a video on it. I've seen a lot of people come out with Dark Souls 2. Some people do approach it kind of stupidly, like Muller. Muller's videos are pretty dumb. There's a YouTuber that does a good job of tackling some of Muller's really stupid points. But not talking about that. But I noticed a lot of YouTubers that have made over the course of time after like Hbomberguy especially, their own Fallout 3 videos where they defend the game and make some solid points. And I do think the people who don't like Fallout 3, like I'm seeing with Strat Edgy here, make some good points too. But I wanted to make this video as well as I made some points. And these two long ass comments I was not expecting. I was only expecting to make one, and then the more I watched his video, I just kept finding things to talk about. And this is as far as I got to the comments. And I'm so sorry to him, especially on a year-old video. He's like, what the frick? So I made some different points on some things that he said in the video. I always make sure to talk about this, and he does technically talk about in the gameplay as well of role playing, but only at certain points. I do agree with like the invincible NPCs, for example. Most of my problems are with like the role playing of the main plot line, the main story. But I think there are a lot of other points that I even mentioned other YouTubers have made good points on. Um, and you can read this yourself. I don't really want to read my stuff. I hate reading my stuff. I don't even know if I like did good spell checks and crap on this. There probably are still some spelling errors or whatever. But since I have such terrible memory in the first place, I wanted to just write this down and make sure I remembered some of this stuff and get it like out there because I had to. I found mistakes with this video. I had to critique the critique. And while there are definitely mistakes with these others, this one did kind of bother me more than the others did. Uh, Also, I'm going through, if I'm wasting my time to go through an hour and 15-minute long video, when I know I've watched a Death Stranding video that was 7 hours long once, then they should have time for me. No, they don't have to read my crap. But yeah, I wanted to make a few points here. I've been playing Fallout 2 as well recently and noticed that when he was talking about pacifist, I don't even know if I spelled pacifist right, wherever the frick it was. It didn't say I didn't spell it right though. But yeah, like I noticed that you can't technically pacifist everything, as of course wildlife is going to freaking attack you. As well as I've gotten trapped by like if there's scorpions or wolves and you're like trying to fight a couple of them and they're not dead yet and they're able to crowd around you. Hell, even if you're running away and they're able to catch up, they can crowd around you and I've literally gotten stuck in between them and had to fight my way out. So you technically can't entirely do pacifist. You probably have to reword a pacifist run to, or the rules of a pacifist run to, characters that aren't wildlife creatures, like human characters, super mutant characters, ghoul characters, stuff like that. If you can pacifist run yourself through those. But even there, that's sometimes not true. So I don't think that's entirely true, even in Fallout 1 and 2's case. There are some examples that you can go around it. A lot of the bigger examples mostly lie in the bigger moments of the game, where smaller moments, not so much. Like the Master, for example. I mentioned the Master around here because Salt Factory said they could solve their problem, their super mutant problem, because they're sterilized and can't have babies uh, babies. So instead, what if they kidnapped humans and had them make babies for them, and then when they grow up, or then they can make the adults into super mutants, and then raise the babies. Then they grow up, and then they just restart the whole process. I wouldn't do it like a like that though, because you'd reach uh, some iffy territory of having siblings, make babies. That would be too much. So I would, if I were them, I would kidnap more than just two people, of course, and make sure that they're not related. And like start almost your own like vault equivalent of like a making babies vault just to be raised up to become super mutants later. But yeah, that that was a solution I believe Salt Factory talked about, and there's a similar solution to what he's talking about here with Little Lamp, where it's like, how the frick does a society work of children? Like, nobody can lactate the babies that are here unless they say that they have the babies here. That is a mistake on their part. I can't remember if they do though. And once again, the main plot line is where a lot of problems do lie. This is kind of based on, I think, Thunderdome's children run, the Mad Max movie Thunderdome's children run location. But other than that, the way to explain it away is if you've been reading down here, and I mean, if you play Fallout 1 and 2 and such, and Morrowind, then you clearly read games. uh, then you see that my solution to it is that what if the babies are sent there? They're sent when they're older children, like say, for example, if they are 3, 4 years old or something, and they're sent there, and they don't need the uh, mommy milkers anymore after being sent to the adult town. They send them back. They have like kind of a trade back and forth thing going on. Like that could work. That would be the solution to that. So, hey, and I mean, the game leaves it open for the imagination in some places. Most of the good role playing elements, and once again, not just in dialogue, is mostly in side quests. Also, it's a post apocalypse. When I was watching Frostbreak, he was mentioning how he also felt like the open world was really boring. There's a lot of empty space between, but then again, it's post apocalyptic. That's probably the point of it. But also, when you do run into those things where you say, hey, what's that? I can go there and explore that thing. A lot of the things in the open world are probably some of the, well, not everything. I think Up as Jump does make some good points of like, not everything is worthwhile. Like the Bethesda headquarters destruction in the game. Um, but I do think there's a lot of good atmosphere too, especially to like seeing the capital of Washington, D.C. just completely destroyed. Like the White House is just a crater, and other things. And like also one of the YouTubers, I can't find him here right now. I think I was watching him. Yeah, Mr. Hammers was pointing out, I think in his Atmosphere part or somewhere. It was either him or another YouTuber I'm thinking of. I might have gotten the wrong YouTuber on that. Just want to point that out. But they did mention how the documentary, how the Fallout 3, some of the Fallout 3 devs were talking about because of a bleak setting like a Fallout game, they did treat it with a little bit more satire and humor than usual, so that could explain some things. And if you look at the game that way, it could even make it kind of better in your eyes in a way. I do think it is one of the weaker Fallout games, though. It definitely is. But I think there's a lot of stuff you can find good about it too. There's a reason it was so loved and still is from the YouTubers I see coming out in the open and saying, hey, these are my points. This is why I freaking love this game. Yeah, that's it. Speaking of which, there's Salt Factory's video. But that's not the one I was mentioning when talking about the last part here, which was his Fallout 1 video. Was Fallout 1 as good as I remember? But yeah, I doubt he'll ever read this. I doubt anybody else will read this. Hell, people might even make some mean, nasty comments to it. Nobody has yet. But I want to just keep in mind, it's my personal opinion. I just had some things I wanted to point out and just casually coming by making comments on a video I'm enjoying and watching. I didn't mean it to be so freaking long. I hate making longer things. It's freaking annoying, but just something about me said I wanted to point out these things. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm probably going to continue watching this and going through, even watching some of these other videos. But I thought it was some interesting points to make. Otherwise, I do like a lot of his points. He does make a good point, though it is in the benefit of Fallout 3, where he talks about the way that the combat system forces you to kind of use the VAT system, which is a random combat thing similar to how Morrowind's combat works, where it's not always guaranteed you're going to hit. Uh, but yeah, while technically other shooters have better combat, like even Fallout 4 and New Vegas, that Fallout 3 is still purposefully making itself more difficult and survival feeling in that way. But yeah, I enjoy the video still. I've been watching it through. Those are the points I wanted to make. And I hope you enjoyed this brief live stream video. I mostly wanted to make it a video, but I hope you enjoyed nonetheless. Tell me what you think of Fallout 3. Also, what is your favorite Fallout game? My personal favorite has been Fallout 2, though I haven't played it in forever, hence why you can probably tell I feel very new at it when I was playing it recently. Uh, but I still love that game. I remember so many things from the companions to the storyline. I even love the villains in that game to even some of the exploration. It's not in the same way of an open world like the other Fallout's 3D ones, but man, it has some good dialogue, some good choices, and so on. I just love it. But and it feels like a perfect Fallout game to me. Uh, but yeah, New Vegas is a really good Fallout as well, and there's a reason that's like top tier Obsidian content. Also, do want to mention that when I was going through these comments, I thought of one last thing with the Avowed video that Frostbreak made. That why does everybody have to think that the way that you role play something, like I know if you play like Mass Effect, for example, you can do Renegade or Paragon, you can be a dickhead or the nicest person. Uh, that's cool, but why does it always go default? And like so many people do this nowadays that it feels repetitive and like the only option they have to resort to find out if a game is role playing or not. It seems like too many people do it that I'm kind of worn out from seeing so many people do that as well. Um, that it's just kind of getting boring now too, weirdly, because it's like the most fun you can have. And it is cool seeing, yourself be a dickhead to people. There is another thing he mentioned. He talked about some dialogue moments that only gave you like two options. Like when he was talking to his father here, he only gave him like two. Yeah, there it is, right there. Only two. But like those are brief. Those are in between other parts where you're asking questions, or there are other times. Though that does mainly lie within the main story stuff. So of course you're going to see a lot of problems in the main story. I do think they should approach the main storyline way better than they did. The main story of Fallout 3 does suck ass. But there's still good moments to it. Even the parts he was saying were boring, like the part with the and I don't know if he knew there was another way of going about it, but the virtual reality part, you can technically have like an invasion happen in order to get good karma instead of bad by going around being like harassing people throughout that frickin' town. I do like that part of the game, and it's one of the more memorable, interesting parts of the game that stands out. And he's over here like, I'm bored. I get it. You're not really having too much like combat involved there, but I mean, it stands out for a reason. There's some standout parts still within the main storyline. Like even though I know Liberty Prime is a freaking part that is like doing the job for you of killing everything that you should be killing, it's still a really cool and iconic scene. There's a reason they repeated it in Fallout 4, even though they didn't need to. Uh, I do, I do absolutely love Liberty Prime. I have a frickin' Funko Pop of him. I love Liberty Prime. He's awesome. He's one of my favorite frickin' creations from the Fallout series. He's frickin' cool and iconic and hilarious. There's good humor in the Fallout games, and you can tell, like once again, the satire thing I was talking about earlier. But nonetheless, I also hope you could have heard me fine. I usually have a really low voice. That's why I have this bar set higher than this bar for everything else, is because so many people have complained about how low my. I'm just a naturally very quiet person in general, so I can't always help that. So I'm sorry. But you have an awesome day. I hope you enjoyed nonetheless. Go check out his video as well. I definitely do recommend Strategy's video. I just think there's a few things that I took note of and had to clear up, or felt I had to clear up, I guess. So I hope you have an awesome day. I will be double checking some things because I remember Moriarty. I remember there was a dialogue option. I think it was even in one of the other Fallout dudes videos there that I have up that mentions that you can have a dialogue option or a way to get around dialogue without having to pay him or whatever or steal from him, that you can get him to tell you where your father went. But maybe I'm wrong on that. I will have to double check. Uh, but guess what? That means another playthrough. And there are choices, like he was doing the stuff with the a lot of the side quests is where the choices come from. Like take for example, three of 3 or 4 of the bigger parts of the game. One of them isn't technically a side quest; it's just something you kind of come across. But the cannibal area in Andale, the Oasis stuff, the antagonizer versus mechanist stuff, and what was the last one I was thinking of? Um, Frick, I forgot it. See what I told you? My frickin' memory is frickin' terrible. I will lose it. I got a goldfish's memory pretty much. But yeah, there's choices that can be made in those. Oh yeah, and the quest he did where you can blow up Megaton. That's the other one. There are definitely choices. Hell, there's another one within that one at Tenpenny where you can join the ghouls or have them stay there together, or have yourself kill the ghouls for 10 pennies, civilians. Like, there's definitely options going on there and how you approach those missions. And most of it, weirdly, isn't just the side quests. And with the cannibals, it's like you can either, especially it does have to work with some of your dialogue options and skills. succeeding, hopefully, in these situations. But you do get a dialogue option where you can technically be friends with the cannibals of Andale, and or you can just fight and kill them all. uh, and then with the 10 penny, you get to decide whether you want to blow up the town or not. You also can do different things, like you can tell the sheriff of that town uh, that Wes Johnson over there wants you to blow up the town, and then he goes over to try and arrest him. And you can either choose there to uh, kill Wes Johnson's character or not, and let him kill the sheriff, or you can kill them both, and or you can kill him, and technically the sheriff can also die. But there are different things that can go on in some of these scenarios. Uh, yeah, and then with the antagonizer and mechanist, you can choose one or the other side, or even convince both of them to just like give up the act, or even kill them yourselves and get their rewards. There's even rewards you're locked out of. I know that you're locked out depending on how you go about either the mechanist or the antagonizer. You are technically locked out of one of their rewards or the other. One gives you like a poisoned knife to use, and the other one gives you a cool, in my opinion, the better option, frickin' ray gun of theirs. But yeah, you can miss out on potential things in the world, as well as there's stuff like missable bobbleheads and such that might make you want to replay just to get that achievement. If that, I can't remember if that achievement exists actually, because I think I beat all the achievements without needing that one. Without needing to collect all those. So, yeah, there's definitely different ways in like the main quest. Now, of course, with the Oasis, it's like, do you decide to destroy the heart and kill Harold? Probably pissing off the people of Oasis. Hell, you can even just kill them and piss them off and kill all of them as well. Uh, and then there's, of course, you can either make it so he doesn't expand growing out to the rest of the wasteland, or that he does expand growing out to the rest of the wasteland. So there's options. It's not nearly as many as other games have, even within the Fallout series, but there's definitely options. They just sadly mostly lie in the side quest stuff. With the main story, I'm guessing they just kind of pumped that out without really putting too much thought into it. There's so little thought, and of course, especially with Todd Howard saying, "Oh, we have 200 endings." That's not true. That is not freaking true. If anything, you have only two, maybe three endings. Because technically, if you do take that device that the president of the Enclave gives you, you can like poison everyone or whatever. So that leads to your bad ending, of course, of you dying as well. They had to also insert the Fox thing, which feels like the default option everyone's going to choose. So by most people's standards, they're probably just going to choose one ending, honestly. Uh, so unless you can be evil and still like have Fox do something for you. I don't know. I haven't tested that out, but still that would still not mean nearly as many endings as other Fallout games and such, or other games that have been known for multiple endings. Hell, even Silent Hill games are known for that, and they're not RPGs in the same way, or even RPGs at all. Uh, so, yeah, I think that's all I want to talk about there. I hope you enjoyed nonetheless, and you have a awesome day. I can't wait to do Fallout 3. I'll probably be doing it later tonight. I don't know, or I could do Fallout New Vegas. I might just do my New Vegas playthrough that I'm doing now, because I have to figure out if I can even find how they organize your save data. Uh, because I remember it being really weird, and that's probably going to mess me up a bunch. Because I was trying to do a run where I joined Kaiser's Legion. So, yeah. But I'm doing a different run. I'm trying to decide who I want to choose this time, but we'll see. You have an awesome day. If you did